Will the Big 12 expand? Will the Big 12 add the four corner schools from the Pac-12, which are Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, and Colorado? Will they add two of those four? Will they add one of those four? Will they add UConn? Will they add Gonzaga for basketball? All these questions we've been asking for months, or at least weeks now. None of them are answered yet. But did Brett Yormark give us a little subtle hint as to what his goal is and what teams he might be wanting to add into this conference? Pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, Big 12 fans, and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz, and welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Pull up that chair and let me serve you up another shot of top-shelf college football content. On tap in today's episode, we are talking once again about the Big 12 and possible Big 12 expansion. We are one day away, actually about 12 hours away at this point, from the Big 12 officially adding BYU, UCF, Houston, and Cincinnati. It's an exciting day for the Big 12 and a really, really exciting day for those four incoming members. However, there's still talk that the Big 12 could potentially add more teams. And in a recent interview that Brett Yormark did on BYU Sports Nation, I think he might have given us a subtle hint as to what teams he's eyeballing to bring into this league. Now, he obviously cannot come out and say what teams he has in mind, but I think if you read the tea leaves here, and maybe it's a stretch, maybe I'm reaching here, but I think if you read the tea leaves, he tells us who he wants to add. Now, I'm going to play a couple snippets of this interview from BYU Sports Nation. I will leave a link to the entire show in the description box of this video. I recommend you go check it out. It's about a 25, 30-minute interview. But I'm going to talk about a couple key things in this one. I'm going to play the clip, then I'll react to it, then I'll play another clip and react to that one. So let's get started. Let's play this first clip from the interview that Brett Yormark did on BYU Sports Nation.
Brett Yormark with great insight into expansion, the Big 12 Conference, Pac-12 media deal, and I feel like we're just getting going. I know that people like to focus on a number, Brett. It's 14 teams this year. It's 12 in 2025. Like there's this idea that, well, if you have more, it means more stability. Where do you stand in that argument of, well, yeah, let's add more so there is more stability?
I don't think stability in numbers are necessarily aligned there. I mean, to me, I do think there's strength in numbers, but if we end up being at 12, that's great. I'd like to stay at 14, even with the departures of Texas and Oklahoma, candidly. We'll see if that's a possibility or not. But I love 12. I love the current makeup moving forward. In fact, I'm thrilled with it. We're not chasing a number. Again, whatever happens has to truly create value for the conference and fit within those guiding principles with respect to how we're thinking about expansion. But it's not so much a number that we're thinking about. It's really more about the fit. And I think that's critically important.
So there you go. Brett Yormark says, I would like to stay at 14, even after the departure of Oklahoma and Texas. Well, let's do some quick math. Right now, the Big 12 has 10 teams, including Oklahoma and Texas. Here in about 12 hours, they'll be adding four more teams: Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, BYU. That will put them up to 14 teams for at least one season, right? For only one season. Because after this season, after effective, I think it's July 1 of 2024, Oklahoma and Texas will officially become members of the SEC. So 14 minus 2 is 12. So for him to stay at 14 teams, that means the Big 12 has to add two teams. He didn't say four. And how many corner schools have we been talking about? Four. Okay? So that to me tells me that Brett Yormark has two teams in mind. Okay? I think I heard one of the guys on Sick'em 365 on the 365 Sports Show yesterday. I think it may have been Craig, but I don't remember for sure. One of those guys said, hey, the first thing I thought of is he has two teams in mind already. And that's exactly what I think. I totally agree with that statement. I think he already has two teams in his head that he wants to add to this conference because he specifically said 14. He was specific about it. Brett Yormark, I'm telling you guys, this guy is calculated. He has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He's a master salesman. He knows what he's doing here. And I think he said 14 for a reason. I think he's giving us subtle hints here, okay, and sending messages through what he's saying here in these interviews. Now let's play the next clip.
Certainly, you get asked a lot about expansion, so let's talk about it. Let's add to the conversation. Is the Pac-12 TV deal the next domino in potential action by the Big 12? Is that what you're sort of waiting on?
That's an interesting question, Jerem. From where I sit, it's not so much about the Pac-12 TV deal. And listen, I wish them well, and I hope they can, ultimately get a deal done that satisfies their membership. But, when I think about expansion, and obviously whatever we do needs to be additive, because I love the composition of our conference today. So truly, whoever we bring in needs to be additive and needs to bring, value to the overall equation. But I want schools that are intentional, that are vested, that want to come here, not because we have a better TV deal, but because they want to sign up for the mission and vision of this conference and where we're going. And they want to be part of our journey, just like BYU obviously signed up for the future of the Big 12. So that's what I'm really all about. That's what our conference is about. Whether a TV deal or not is the impetus for change, I can't really speak to that. But when we're thinking about schools that could be additive, we have these guiding principles for expansion, and it starts with, academics and leadership. Cultural fit plays a huge role, geography, athletic performance, and then also brand upside. So it's not so much about the TV deal. It's about those guiding principles and making sure that whoever might be interested in joining the Big 12 is all in, is totally vested in where we're going.
So, did you catch that? He said he wants, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, I want teams that are all in. I want teams that want to be in the Big 12. I don't want them to come to this league only because they couldn't get a deal with their current league or their current TV partners or the TV partners they're negotiating with. Because the host of the show asked him directly about the Pac-12, and of course he doesn't want to, give too many details out. He can't for obvious reasons. But he specifically said, I want teams that want to be here. Does that sound like Utah to you? It does not. Utah has made it clear they don't want to be in the Big 12. Does that sound like Arizona State to you? I don't think so. I think Arizona State has made it clear they do not want to be in the Big 12. Does it sound like maybe Arizona? Maybe. Could it sound like Colorado? Again, maybe. Then he goes over the guiding principles for expansion, and I'm not going to go over each one individually, but he talked about geography. And in this interview and in past interviews, he's talked about being in the 4th time zone. Guys, Arizona is in the 4th time zone, at least during football season. They fit that description. He talked about cultural fit. Colorado's been in the Big 12 before. We already know they're somewhat of a cultural fit. Arizona is likely the biggest cultural fit of any team in the Pac-12 right now, at least in my opinion. They seem to really embrace wanting to be in the Big 12. So to me, he talked about academics. Both are really good academic institutions. Brand upside. Both of these teams have upside, especially when you look at Coach Prime and what he's doing at Colorado. Arizona's basketball team already has a great brand. Their football team, I think, is improving with Jed Fish there at Arizona. So when you look at these two teams, I think they fit every single box. They check every box that Brett Yormark laid out in his guiding principles for expansion. My initial thought when hearing this clip, when he made the statement, I want teams that want to be here, it made me think, well, it has to be a group of 5 teams. It has to be like UConn or Gonzaga or someone, because a group of 5 team would obviously embrace wanting to be in the Big 12. But then you think back at the pro rata clause in the Big 12 TV deal, it's only for Power 5 schools. I just don't see networks stepping up and adding more money to the TV revenue by adding group of 5 teams. I really don't. And I don't see the existing Big 12 members being willing to give up more of their money to bring those schools in either. So now Brett Yormark could be creative and come up with a new idea, a new revenue idea to get these teams, get a group of 5 team in the league or a couple group of 5 teams. Absolutely, he could. Maybe there's probably ideas out there that I've not thought about that he could come up with. But on the surface, and when you're looking at the top ways or the easiest ways to get him in, I just don't see it happening. I think it would need to be a Power 5 team, and the only 2 Power 5 teams that I think would embrace being in the Big 12 would be Arizona and Colorado. Now, do I think their number one preference is to stay in the Pac? Absolutely, I do. But I do think of all the Pac-12 teams, they are the 2 who would embrace being in the Big 12 and who would be excited about changing leagues if it came to that. May not be the number one choice, but I think they could get excited about it more so than the other teams in that conference. Let me know, Couz's Corner family, in the comments section. What do you think Brett Yormark meant by these comments he made about A, wanting to stay at 14 teams, and B, the comments he made about teams wanting to be in the league, not just because they couldn't get a TV deal done with their current conference. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think he is talking about group of 5 teams? Or do you think Arizona and Colorado are the teams he had in his mind when he made those statements? Let me know in the comment section. Also, folks, if you don't mind, please support me here at Couz's Corner financially. There's a couple ways you can do that. You can go to my merch store, check out the link in the description box there, or click one of the photos below the description box. It'll take you right in. You can leave a one-time donation with the heart thanks button right below. It's a heart with a dollar sign in it. Hit that. Leave me a one-time donation. You can support me that way. Or you can become a member of Couz's Corner, make a small monthly donation to the channel. There are perks that go along with that. That's another way you can support me here at Couz's Corner. Also, guys, you can support me absolutely free in 4 easy ways. You can like the video by hitting the thumbs up button. You can share it out with your family and friends. You can drop the comment below that I mentioned. And last but not least, you can subscribe to the channel. Help me get to my next big goal of 10,000 subscribers right here at Couz's Corner. So with that being said, guys, I really appreciate you tuning into this episode. And until the next one, Q Country Roads.
Take me home, country road.